The planets align, my friend. It's all to do with those aurora lights that were in here the other night. Like
That's right. It's the eclipse or whatever. I honestly don't understand that. Like, have these people not read Day of the Triffids? Like, if there's any kind of solar event, I am in my house with the windows closed because I want to be one of the few people that can still see.
I've also seen Colour Out of Space.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the kind of colour that...
You stay away from that shit. We are fragile beings who are not meant to handle that stuff.
And yet there's me and my wife cruising around looking for these lights. Can you see it yet? Can you see it?
Yeah. No, that's a street light. What about that one? That's a street light.
Oh, my goodness. Let's have a conversation before we throw to this interview. We have Bill Bennett to talk to in a moment. And he's made some great films over the years, but his new one is about the El Camino de Santiago trail in Spain, the great pilgrimage that a lot of people do.
Is that where the bulls run?
No. Okay. This is the one that...
You mean other things happen in Spain?
This is the one that Emilio Estevez made that film with his dad called The Way. Right? And that's interesting. We're going to talk about that in the chat because
I just thought it was a fastball song.
But I did.
Was it fastball? Speedball. Fastball.
I don't know if he appreciated it. He was very good about it when I mentioned there was a film called The Way. Yours is The Way, My Way, and I wanted to know the connection there and why the decision for that title. But anyway, pilgrimage films. I wanted to run some off and see if you've seen any. So you haven't seen The Way.
I have not seen The Way. I have not. I did when you told me about this, I did a Google search for pilgrimage films because I couldn't think of any
self-discovery kind of.
Or self-discovery. Yeah, well, usually the only self-discovery films I watch on a regular basis are usually on a website called spankbang.com. That's when a lot of women discover themselves, or at least one particular part of themselves. But so. Does Big Trouble in Little China count as a pilgrimage film? Because he does go on a spiritual journey. Does that count? Right. Goonies? They go on a quest. These are all Joseph Campbellian.
I was thinking more along the lines of The Straight Story, the David Lynch film.
That is what a fantastic quest.
I'm not sure he's coming of age. He's pretty of age.
The
time he does that.
He's coming out of it. Is whatever the opposite is. Yeah, of coming of age.
Death.
He's coming of death.
He's walking towards death.
Yeah. Well, it literally is because his brother's sick.
Yeah, that's the whole. That's right. And he hasn't got much time left. Either of them. There was that great movie based on the Bill Bryson book, A Walk in the Woods, with Robert Redford and Nick Nolte. I freaking love that one.
Oh, I didn't know.
And it's very similar.
That's off one of his fiction books?
Yes, and that's interesting because only now that I'm talking about that, it's very similar to Bill's film, The Way, My Way, in that that's based off his memoir of doing the pilgrimage. And A Walk in the Woods is all about Bill Bryson's walk that was adapted into a book and then made into a movie. They got the same kind of production story.
Yeah, right. When I used to work at Borders, the whole thing about Borders and the way that the sections worked is that they're all the same across all the stores.
Yep.
So if you went into one Borders and you found a book in the English section, you could go into any other Borders anywhere in the world, and it would also be in the same section of those kind of chains.
Yep.
They used to have on the ground floor of Chatston where I worked, they had the guidebook section, the travel books, and they also had the travel fiction. So Bill Bryson took up 90% of the shelves.
Yep.
With his book on Australia, and he had a couple of books on Australia and England and all that sort of stuff. And then this girl Tanya was like, and at the time, all of the phrase books, all of the language guidebooks, they were all up in the language section on the third floor. Right. And she was like, why don't we put them down with the guidebooks? And they went, oh, well, look, we'll suggest it, but that would mean a global change.
Yeah, that's right.
And they did it. And then they went, oh, yeah, okay, the head office thinks that's a great idea. So they implemented it. And I think that the sales of phrase books went up 10 million %.
And how did her pay go?
Oh, not a change. She got promoted to a lead, which was not a manager, but just more responsibility than the rest of us.
That's
staff.
it's like a shiny star on your badge.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Into the Wild. That's a good one. The Sean Penn directed one about with Emile Hirsch.
There's 50 Into the Wilds, isn't there? They've made that movie a couple of times. Didn't they? Isn't there's one with Harrison Ford and Isn't there another one
That's
with
Into the Wild. Is it Into the Wild? You know the one I mean, where
Yeah.
it goes and William Hurt's and goes to the bus.
with the dog or whatever? It's the wolf or
No,
whatever the hell it is.
that's a different one. So that Into the Wild, I think that's Into the Wild is one with Harrison Ford, the most recent
Yeah,
one.
but I think there's a few into the.
But I'm talking about the Sean Penn one, where it's the boy, the young guy that goes off into the Alaskan wilderness to discover himself against the wishes of everybody.
Doesn't he have mirrors at home?
True story. And he finds that he dies at that bus. It's not a spoiler. It's a famous story. And now people make a pilgrimage in real life to that bus, to that place where he died, which makes no sense to me. Like, go to the place the guy couldn't survive.
Like, it's not like I'd rather go to the baseball field in Field of Dreams. At least then there's a chance you're going to see people playing baseball.
Well, there's a pilgrimage film.
That's a great. Yeah. If you build it, they will come. Yeah, totally.
You can look that up. Secret Life of Walter Mitty. That's a good one.
Yeah. I never saw, like, it was the other thing when I looked at the list. I was like, I didn't watch any of these. And I never got into the whole, look, I've got a bit of a thing with Ben Stiller. I don't generally, like, I find his comedy to be annoying. Like, sometimes it's great, but I always have to be dragged into a kicking and screaming. And after all, you go, oh, Zoolander was pretty good. Zoolander 2, not so much, but Zoolander's fine. But, so I've just... And when Walter Mitty came out, I was like, I don't need to see this. No one made me.
I really liked it. Very life-affirming type of movie. By the way, your hand's been covering my face in that video the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, you've been resting like this. That's okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
You can keep it there. It doesn't matter now. We've come this
the
far.
The coup starts now.
We've come this far.
My name is Ben Helwig, and I'm your host. Welcome to Good Movie Monday.
One I've never seen, but I really want to, and I should have seen it by now, is Fandango, which is the Kevin Reynolds film with Kevin Costner way back in the days.
Oh, I have seen that. That's great.
Yeah, I really want to see that. You recommend it?
It's really good. I think I recommended it on the show.
I don't recall. Maybe you did. Maybe you did.
It was a Warner Brothers VHS release back in the in the day, and
it's one I had, and I reckon I may have given it a watch, but I don't remember anything about it. Like, it's one I want to.
Yeah, it's basically a road trip movie.
Yeah, cool.
With four friends, Kevin Costner. I think it's a very early Kevin Costner film. Like, I think maybe his kind of first. I don't even know if he's the lead. Like, technically he is, but it's like Tim Matheson is the lead of Animal House when really it's Tom Hulce.
Yeah,
but
he wasn't the breakout star.
Yeah,
yeah. Cool. All right, let's get to this interview.
It's
a really good one. I've spoken enough about Bill and what he does and what his movies are, so let's talk about this one, The Way, My Way.
Does Frank Sinatra singing this? Does My Way get played in the soundtrack at all?
No.
That's a missed zing.
It's an indie film. I doubt they can afford that.
They can afford it, yeah. Surely it's only got 10 or 15 years before he's been dead so long that all that stuff is now public domain.